So welcome everybody to this week's Power Hour. We are so excited that you are here. I just want to, first of all, welcome Lindsey Johnson, who's our guest speaker for today, and remind you of our new format on Tuesdays. So 1 week a month, we are doing a masterclass. Then another week, we will have a guest speaker. Another week, we will have some type of implementation session or something like that. We have a few different options there. And then another week, we're going to have members market. So in 2 weeks, if you are a member of the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs, put it on your calendar every single week, Tuesday at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. And in a couple weeks, we're doing members market. So you'll get to share with everybody, the whole community on the Facebook page and the Facebook group, what you're offering right now. So this month we're focusing on offers. So today we are going to do a few announcements, do a prayer, let Lindsey Johnson speak to us about creating sales pages. So last week, if you missed it, we had a full offers masterclass that I did, and what follows the offer is the sales page. So if you remember, I told you last week, right when you're thinking of your offer, write your sales page first. Like you get a general idea, write your sales page because it pushes you in the head of your client, right? Of the person trying to buy. And so Lindsey is going to talk about that today. So here we are. I already mentioned all this. Next week, we are going to do a live round of offer cure. So I'll be sending more information out about that. So instead of it, that is our version of implementation session this month. And so if you are a paid in full for the year member, you have offer cure in your members area. If you are not, it is simply $37 and you're welcome to join us. So that is that. Here is our in-person events. We would love to see you if you happen to live in this area. So on Thursday, I'm super excited to see my NACWE community here locally in Tucson. And then also this Thursday is the virtual networking. So this is open to members all across the nation, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern, in the normal Zoom room. And then you can simply register for that, and we would love to see you there. Guests are welcome also. There is a fee for guests, so just remember that. Wisdom Well is this Friday, and it is our mini mastermind experience. I'm gonna try and run through these. Wednesday, July 5th is our next co-working. Every single Monday, we meet to do a devotional and a prayer call. And I don't know about you guys, the people who have been there lately. It's been super powerful. So people are just asking for prayer, both for business and for personal. And it's a great way to start the week. Put on your calendars the Create Conference, October 25th through the 27th. We would love to see you there. All of our links page, NACWE.com/links, takes you every single place you need to go. So our verse this week is 1 Peter 4:10, which is what we did our devotional on as well. And so if you haven't seen that on Monday, you can go back and watch it, which says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms, right? So we always like to say, like, it's not about you. And then we say, well, it's a little bit about you, right? So it's not about you because we were given the things we were given to serve others. And it's a little bit about you because God created you, uniquely you, and he does work through our personalities to make all that stuff happen. And so our inspirational quote this week is by Martin Luther King Jr. Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't need to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. So let's pray. Father, thank you. Thank you for each and every person in the Zoom room right now, God. And I also thank you for every person watching on the Facebook Live and for everybody who will watch it later, whether that's in Facebook or in the members area. And so, Father, I just ask that you give us ears to hear. We love you. We are thankful that you are giving us the direction for our lives, for our businesses, and that all we need to do is follow. And again, just like everything else, right? Like we're responsible to do our part and you're responsible for the outcome. So we get to let go of all of that. We get to hold it loosely. And we just thank you for the work you are doing in and through us. In Jesus' name, amen. So I want to welcome Lindsey Johnson. She is a copywriter and a coach, copy coach, and specifically for Christian women entrepreneurs. Like, you guys are her ideal client, just so you know. And she writes amazing stuff, a lot of what you've seen. In fact, I've changed little pieces of it, but most of the sales page for joining NACWE, when you did that, was written by Lindsey Johnson. And so, Lindsey, welcome. We're so glad you're here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for the warm welcome, Heather. And I'm super excited to connect with everyone here. I'm going to share my screen too, and we will get going on sales copy. And I'll share a little bit about who I am and my family and all that fun stuff. So I am following up on Heather's class last week on offers and like, what do you create? What is your audience needing? How is your offer going to solve a specific pain point, struggle, or need that they have? And writing high converting sales copy and sales pages specifically is so important in the marketing aspect of it, but also like in the offer creation itself, because when you dive into the nitty gritty of the writing, it forces you to figure out, okay, what is this going to be? Who is it for? Why do they need it? And helps you to weave this marketing argument that will become your sales page, but it also helps you formulate like what this offer is actually going to do and be, and what the transformation is going to do for your audience. So I'm here to tell you that you can write an amazing sales page, even if you don't think you're a good writer, because there's a lot of it that comes down to like process and framework. You don't have to be super creative. You just have to know your person, and you have to know your brand and how those two kind of like marry to become how you market online and in your copy. So this is a super old picture. I was realizing I was like dating things last night. I'm like, it's been a minute since we have a new picture. So now our oldest is 11 and the youngest, like the super cute baby right here, he's 3.5 and huge, just as cute, just huge. So I'm a copywriter, copy coach for women business owners, specifically business owners who love Jesus. So I love coming here to share with you guys, because like your heart is my heart, and I just want to serve and help your businesses grow for the glory of God and the good of others. I'm an FG Society certified master marketer, so I've dabbled in a lot of things. Started as a VA before I even knew what a VA actually was, learned web design, learned branding, learned like all the things graphics, and then landed on like, man, I really love to write. And I love how writing can be such an impactful piece of your marketing. Homeschool this group of hooligans, and we live in Wisconsin next to Lake Superior, as I was mentioning before we went live in this call. So we just love hanging out outside, fishing, hunting, outdoorsy family. And I run my business and homeschool kids, and just really grateful for how God has continued to lead and guide the combination of all the things that he has called me to do and to be. So let's dive into this, guys. I'm excited. So I want to start at the very beginning and talk about like messaging, sales copy, sales pages. Like, how do these things all fit together as you are creating an offer that is going to be exactly what your ideal client needs from you right now? So I like to define these terms, first of all, because you may have heard the term messaging and go like, dude, I don't know what messaging actually is. Like, I hear this word, I know it's important, but like, what is messaging? So I like to define it as like this underlying value proposition of your business. It's who you are, it's what you bring to the table, it's what makes you different in the marketplace, and it's how you communicate that to the world. So the messaging is like, it can feel really hard to define. But it's those things like, okay, who am I speaking to? Who is my audience? What are the things that make me different? Like my mission, my vision, my core values, like me as a brand, and combining that with my audience and how I want to show up. And then the copy is the words themselves, like the specific language, like the things you're actually typing on in your computer, emails, social media captions, sales pages, like that's the actual copy. And it's based on the foundation of strong messaging for your business. So once you know like the messaging pieces, the rest of the puzzle all kind of fits together, because then the copy will flow from your messaging. If there's questions about that, I'd love to dive deeper into that afterwards. I just wanted to give like a foundational definition of how I use these two words in my business. So the messaging is like how you communicate your brand, your value, and your offer. It's also what makes you different. So we call this brand awareness in the marketing space. It's like how do people see you online? Like, what is their perception of you? And then how do we use these themes, mission, vision, values, who our audience is, like what makes us unique as a business? How do we use these in our marketing? And then how do we communicate why people need what we have to offer? So if you boil it all down, your messaging is communicating with your audience, and we want to communicate in a way that is clear, consistent. It's not confusing. It just is really solid communication, just like you need solid communication in like an actual relationship that you have, like your spouse, your children, your friends. You need strong communication with those kinds of relationships. You also need strong communication with your audience too, and that's really what messaging is. So why is it important? It's important because having strong messaging in your business, it will build and grow a brand that you can scale beyond yourself if that is what you choose to do. Messaging also brings clarity and consistency to your marketing. So if you have strong messaging, you know exactly what to say when you are creating a social media marketing plan, or when you are creating a launch plan for your new offer, because you can fall back on a strong messaging foundation. And then the copy, or like those specific words, right? It describes your work, describes your offer, describes what you do and who you are. So people know that coming into it. And it also communicates what makes you unique. So someone might choose to work with me because I do love Jesus, and someone may choose to not work with me because I love Jesus. Like, but at least they know, because my communication is clear, and it helps them know like what makes me different, what sets me apart. So it tells your audience basically why they should choose to do business with you versus your competitors. And it makes the benefits of your offer and how you show up for them just really crystal clear. So if you are thinking, okay, Lindsey, I get messaging, kind of like I know all this stuff, but I'm not a good writer. I really, really stunk at AP English in high school, or like whatever story you are telling yourself right now, I have heard it and it's valid, but we can rewrite that story, because you do not have to be a good creative writer of poetry or short stories or anything like that in order to write a good sales page. Obviously, if you like to write, it's helpful. It makes it less of a drudgery, but it does not define you as a business owner. So these are 3 of the key things that you need to know in order to write a good sales page. You need to know who your ideal buyer is. You need to know how they talk about their pain points and desires, not just how you think they talk about their pain points and desires. And then you need to know how your offer can actually solve their need, or just help make their life better, depending on what industry you are in. So I want to talk a little bit about like the big fancy word is psychographics, but it's basically like diving in, right? You dive into the mind of your ideal buyer, which will help you in writing your sales page, in creating the offer, the product, the whatever it is. We gotta dive into like their mind. A lot of ideal client exercises focus on demographics, but those are like stinky. They don't actually help very much. But but if you dive into their brain of like, okay, what are they looking for? Really and truly, even if they're not able to communicate that themselves quite yet, you will have like marketing gold in your fingertips. So here's who is your human. And your human, I know Heather knows this, like Julie Chanel is someone that we both follow. She's Heather's coach. She talks about her human or your human just because it's like so much. I love it because I'm like, ideal client, but I'm talking to people here and I want to remember that I'm talking to people. So who is your people? Who's your human and what is their character like? What are their values? What do they like and enjoy? What do they not like and enjoy? If you can start gathering some of these things, it'll help you. It'll help you know how to write to them when you get to the point of writing the sales page. And then what does your human understand about their problem? What is their awareness level? I can't remember the guy who created this like hierarchy. I have to look it up. I don't remember the guy, but basically it's this really kind of like pyramid thing that there are people who have no clue that they even have a problem. And these are the people who are the hardest people to market to. So someone who does not even have an awareness of their problem doesn't know they need a solution. They have no clue that they need your offer. But someone who is problem aware then knows that they have a pain point or a struggle or something that is just like not right in their life. They just don't know what to do to solve that problem yet. Someone who is solution aware knows that there is some answer to their pain point, but they don't know the who or the what or the specific product or person to hire or to buy from in order to solve that problem. And then someone who is product aware knows exactly the thing that they need to solve their problem. These final people are going to be your smallest bucket, but they are the easiest person to market to. So just keep that in mind as you are figuring out like who your ideal client is or could be. People who are product aware are going to be the hottest leads. You probably have between the problem and the solution bucket, they're going to be like the biggest group of people. It'll take more marketing argument and persuasion to get them to the place of hitting the buy button. But you can do that with strong marketing and strong copy. And then I want you to consider how your human actually talks about their problem. Because yes, we can sit down with a Google Doc all day long and pretend we know how our client is actually talking about their problem. But unless we go dive into like Facebook groups, we do research, we get on calls, we actually listen to the language that people are using to talk about their problem and the solution, it's going to be really hard to speak to them in a way that's going to resonate and connect. So start researching their words. This would be like a really good action step for you guys to take away from this. Start a Google Doc, like a word bank of words and phrases that your ideal client is actually using in the marketplace, and use these words back at them. It's not plagiarizing. It is getting into their head. And this is important because it creates instant connection. So if I'm struggling with something, when my kids were little, they took forever to like sleep through the night. So I never did hire like a newborn or like a baby sleep coach or anything like that, but I sure thought about it. So if I read a sales page based on the struggles that I have of like, my kid just won't sleep through the night, what on earth? And I read that language on a sales page, it'll be like, She knows, she gets it. She's totally in my head right now. So go to the people that you want to serve and talk with them or read information about them or from them, because if you can create that instant connection of like, dude, that girl's in my head, she gets it. That's the point where someone's like, she understands, she empathizes with me, she's been through it herself. I'm thinking she has the answer. And then know your offer. This part gets a little bit, I don't know, it feels a little bit muddy because as you're writing your sales page, you may not have your offer 100% complete yet, but know at least how your offer is going to help your person overcome pain points and struggles to reach the outcome that they need. Even if you don't know what module 5 is going to be yet in your offer, that's okay. At least know how the offer in general is going to help them reach that point of transformation. They're here at point A right now. We need them to get to point B. And is your offer actually going to do that for them? And then a framework, this is speaking to like sales pages in general. So I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to walk you through the exact how. I'm going to walk you through some of the how. This is more like the whys and like, this is what you should do first to get you going. But when you can use a framework for a sales page, it's you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Like the process, the order, sure, you can switch it up. You don't have to use the same framework the entire like course of your business, but it really is true that sales copy is more of a formula than you think it is. It's more of a framework than it is an exercise in creativity, because there is order to marketing arguments. There is order to persuasion. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, in order to write like a really good sales page, I have to throw in something super unexpected right here. Or like there's a process and a proven framework to sales pages that will help you. Like you don't have to start with a blank Google Doc every time. And then wordsmithing your humans' words to fit your brand. This is really important, and I want to touch on it real briefly because your sales page is going to be speaking to your ideal client in the language that they're going to resonate with and connect with. But how do you still like weave in parts of your personality and brand to help you stand out in the marketplace, like the messaging part we talked about in the beginning? So think about how this one sales page, one offer fits into the grand scheme of your brand. Like how does it fit into your value ladder? How does it fit into the customer journey? And how can you incorporate things like your own core values or maybe unique ways that you step up and serve clients? And how can you make this sales page stand out for your human that's also like really reflective of your brand? You language versus I language. I will preach this one until, I don't know, what do they say? The cows come home. I will preach this one until whatever. Audit your copy to see how many instances of I you have rather than you. This is super common, especially in emails and social media, not as common in sales pages, but I really want you to be aware of it because it totally changes the game. Once you see this, you are not going to unsee this. So when I say I, it'd be like, I, Lindsey, this, and I, Lindsey, that. Like the Lindsey Show 24/7 is not a fun show to watch. I want you to talk to your ideal client, like you. So if I was talking to Heather, my you language would be speaking to her heart, not like I, Lindsey, this, and I, Lindsey, that. And I'm going to show you an example of what I mean because you're like, what is she talking about? So here's an example of a really bad email. It's communicating something just fine, like it's clear communication, but I want you to listen to it and make note of all of the I's in this email. Dear Susie, I am so happy you are interested in hiring me to do a family session. This is for a photographer. I can't wait to get your date on the calendar. I'm available Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday at 6, so I can capture the golden hour for your pictures. I can't wait to hear what works for you. It's fine. It communicates what it needs to communicate, but this is the difference. This is when we flip it to you instead. Dear Susie, thank you so much for your interest in a family session. It's an honor to work with families like yours. Availability for sessions include Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday at 6 to capture that golden hour. What works best for your schedule? It says the exact same thing, but when I read this one, I'm like, it's just so much better than like, I. So you're not going to run into this too much with sales pages, but you can, especially in like your bio section or places where you're talking about your own experience. How can you take your own experience and flip it and say the exact same thing while speaking to your audience instead of using I all the time? It makes a world of difference. And then just a note on direct response copy. Direct response copy is, sales pages fall into this category. You're working to get your prospect, your ideal client, to take action as soon as possible. So it's copy that asks for the sale. It's not something that you have a really long customer journey like time frame for. So for example, if someone was like downloading a freebie, they would jump on my list. I would probably nurture them for a while before asking for the sale, or like they'd be in my world for a while before I would ask for the sale. Your sales page for your offer is going to ask for the sale. Like they're not going to jump on your list first and then be nurtured for 3 months before they are asked to buy something. So you want to guide them on a journey that's still gentle and makes sense, but you want to get them to the place of know, like, and trusting you faster. So you can ask for that sale right on that same page, because often if it's a cold lead, if it's someone who has never heard of you before, they still may land on that sales page and you're going to ask them to buy. That's what direct response copy is. You still want to take them on the journey of that sales page so they feel comfortable and confident in who you are and what you can do for them, so that they will like buy from that page directly. So you're not trying to warm them up first. You're not building know, like, trust over a long period of time. Your sales page seeks to get a response right away, like a yes. You want them to know by the end of the sales page whether it's a yes or a no. Even if it is a no, that's fine. If they're not the right person for your offer, then that's fine. At least they know that and they can make that wise decision for themselves. So you want them to get to a place of like, it's a yes from me, or it's a, I don't think she's the girl that I need to help with this one specific thing, before they even leave your page. All right, structure of a sales page. This is the framework that I was mentioning before. I want to show you primary content blocks for your sales page. And by content blocks, I know you've seen it before. If you're on a website, like you've got this chunk of copy here followed by a chunk of copy there, and maybe it's designed a different color, but like it's a logical flow down the page. And these content blocks, they all kind of represent a different, it's one cohesive marketing argument, but these content blocks represent different pieces that you need to make up the whole puzzle. I don't have a beautiful graph for this. It's just a list, and I think it's 15. And you'll probably notice by looking at this versus sales pages that you've seen, you'll go, oh yeah, I know what she's talking about. So you've got like the opening headline. Grabs your attention. It has to grab your attention right away, or someone's going to click off your page. So it's there's so many ways to do a headline. Actually, Heather, remind me, that's another resource. That's another freebie I have that we can add to the list of like a bunch of examples of headlines. And then it identifies the problem. So you really start to like agitate what people are experiencing right now. Like there's a struggle, there's a pain point, there's like a need that you talk about, and you kind of like, agitate is the best word for it. So as they read, they're like, yep, this is what I'm going through. Yep, feeling this. Yep, it's been really, really, really hard. And then you start to look towards the future of that transformation. So you start to like tease how things can be different. Not necessarily introducing your offer yet, but you're teasing how things can be different. And then here you announce the solution, which is the offer itself. So like, hey, this is what I've got for you. This is what is going to help all of the problems go away. Benefits and features, investment, so how much it costs. Why it matters is a really powerful section that a lot of people like to include in their sales pages. So like tell me why I should buy this. Tell me why it matters, and dig into like why it should matter to them. Building rapport is the bio section. It's kind of like sharing your story, why people should trust you. If you've gone through the same thing that your audience has gone through, it's helpful to like share stories that can relate to them. Testimonials and social proof is another really important section. So if you have people that have gone through the offer before and have they just have testimonials of how it's worked for them, include that on the page. Calls to action, that's a typo, guarantee, urgency and scarcity. Again, the offer stack is kind of the same thing as announcing the solution, FAQs, and then the close. There are several of these sections that you have the freedom to kind of bounce around, especially like testimonials and social proof. You wouldn't necessarily have to have a huge block of testimonials. You can have a testimonial here. You can also have a testimonial right underneath the first announcement. You can have a testimonial underneath why it matters. So if you share a story of why this matters, and then you have a testimonial backing up what you just shared in your own copy, that's really powerful too. Calls to action should be sprinkled throughout the page. I mean, if it's a long form sales page, at least 3, if not more like 5 buttons. Guarantee can kind of be wherever you think it makes sense. FAQs, offer stack, I also have seen placed several times throughout the page. So you want to really nail, just like drive home, like this is the offer, but then this is why. I'm going to go ahead real quick because I forgot nope, I'm going to go back one more time. So I'm going to assume that when Heather talked about writing the sales page first, that she wanted you to like get in their head, why on earth are these people going to want my offer? Thinking through what their problems are, what solution they're looking for. But when you start to write the sales page, it's counterintuitive, but don't start with the opening headline. Don't start writing there, because that can be one of the hardest things to write, even though it's first. Maybe it's because it's first that it's the hardest thing to write. The easiest place to start is you're going to start with like, what is the offer? The offer is, I don't even know. And it has 5 modules, and like, this is why, this is the benefit of the offer. This is the features of the offer. You can jot down an investment. This will start to get your juices flowing as you are typing, because the worst thing is for you to open like your Google Docs and that blinking cursor is just like taunting you. And you're like, dude, I have to write this headline first because it's first on the page, but you don't. Just dive into like, okay, this is what I think my offer is going to be. This is why my people are going to need it. Start pulling in different pieces of content. Like maybe you have testimonials. Start there. Start by like plopping some testimonials into your page, because now it's not blank. And you can use those as an inspiration to start writing more of the other content blocks. So hopefully that makes sense. You don't have to start at the beginning. And in fact, it's way better if you don't. So in close for this part, and then we'll move into Q&A, I want you to just remember that it's really important to know you're human. And I'm sure you all do. I'm sure you can go, yeah, my person struggles with X, Y, and Z, but I am here with this offer that instead brings them to a place of like peace and security and like all of these things that your people are wanting. So once you know you're human, get to know their words, get to know the way they talk about it, their problem, and what they're looking for in a solution. And then know your offer. If you oh, guys, I can't tell you enough. If you are confident in what your offer can do, it's so much easier to sell. Like if you know, like, oh man, this course, the beta people, like the 5 people who went through this course had these amazing results. It boosts your confidence, and in that you're like, yeah, because you're not selling yourself anymore, you're selling results that actually happened. So know your offer, know that it works. And then I would love to encourage you to use this copy framework, and I'm going to give you more resources on how to do that, but this is like all the pieces of the sales page. You don't have to do it from scratch. Like, use these content blocks to write a long form sales page, and it makes the process so less intimidating. And then test it. I don't love testing things. I just want them to work right out the gate, but sometimes they don't. So if you write a sales page and it's 90% there, launch it. Like, launch it. See how your audience connects with it, resonates with it. Is it actually going to convert? Because that'll help you know whether the offer maybe is not what your audience is looking for, or maybe the marketing argument in your sales copy is not hitting home. So test it. And then ask for the sale. It can be really hard to ask for the sale, but once you know that your offer works, once you know that your people can get results, like, you can have me giving you permission to ask for the sale and like put that buy button all over your page, because it gives people, you're serving people in the way that you're showing up in your business. And I know that you wouldn't be here in this Zoom room today that if you didn't care for your people. So I know you care for your people and you're serving with excellence. Because you're serving with excellence, you can ask for that sale with confidence, because what you are doing is helping people, and more people need to be helped by what you are doing. So ask for that sale. All right, this is what I've got for you. I'm so excited. So the reason I'm so excited is that people have gone through Sales Copy Shortcut, and I know it works. Otherwise, I hate selling, guys. I hate selling so much, but I've done what I preach, and Sales Copy Shortcut is going to be the tools and the training. This was a little taste of it, but it's the tools and the training that you can use to ask the right questions and get that sales page written. It's a little bit of messaging. It's a lot of sales page like mechanics. And it is a course typically $47, but if you use the code NACWE23, like, this is my gift for you today. I really want you to go in and not be afraid to write super scary sales pages anymore, because it doesn't have to be super scary. I can virtually hold your hand through Sales Copy Shortcut. So I think Lindsay and Heather have all the information, and I'm going to let them kind of take it from here. And yeah, so I think that's
Lindsay,
it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We had a couple questions, and before we shut off the live, we'll answer a couple of them, but then we'll shut it off and have more conversation in here. And so one of them was, what % do you think the consumers actually read of the sales copy?
So good. If someone's a tire kicker, they're going to skim it, and you may catch their attention, and then they'll go back and read more. If they are a serious buyer, they're going to read every single word. In my experience, unless they are someone who is so loyal to your brand that they will buy anything that you put out, and there are those people too, then they may not care what you write on your sales page. But if they are someone who is super serious, they're like, okay, I'm on the fence and I'm almost falling off. I'm this close to hitting the buy button. They're going to go back and they're going to read every word, because they really want to be sure that you are the person for them and it's the offer for them. So it kind of depends on where this person is in their experience with you, their experience with your brand. Does that help?
Yeah, I think so. And then I would say too, like, sometimes it depends on their personality. Like, I keep thinking of the bank assessment. I don't know if you know that one, but it's like blueprint, action, nurture and knowledge person.
Mm.
And so the blueprint and the knowledge people always, like the knowledge person will
Yes.
always read every single word.
Yes.
Like whether they've known you for 10 years, they want to know all the details, every FAQ.
Yep.
Right.
All those fact finders.
Person, it's like, yep, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or their emotional buyer, which, you know, how that goes.
Yeah.
And then can you talk really quickly about the difference between rapport and testimonials? Like you have both of those sections on there. So what's the difference between those two?
So like social proof, when I think of social proof, together with testimonials, social proof would be like screenshots. So if it's someone that has typed something out as a Facebook comment, or like it's public, it's kind of like public domain. They didn't even really mean it to be a testimonial. They were just like shouting your praises. Screenshot, social proof. Testimonial would be you're asking someone for their opinion, for their feedback, for their review, for their good words if they have gone through something. So more like, hey, I'm going to send you my testimonial form. Would you be willing to fill it out? And then it feels a little more formal. Building rapport and even like your bio section, I feel kind of bleed together, because a bio is going to tell them the pieces about you that are going to be relevant to them and their decision with this offer. Rapport is maybe like your personal experience, especially if you have gone through the same thing that your person is going through right now. You can speak to the personal pain that you experience. You can speak to the personal journey. You can speak to the things that you did in order to like overcome that struggle. And that builds rapport, because it like makes them realize that you're really no different from them, except you're one step ahead in that journey. So building rapport, if you have not, I'm trying to think of like an example of if you haven't gone through. I think of like health struggles as if you are in like the health and wellness space and you've gone through a specific, like, I don't know, like even hormone thing, like you figured out how to rebalance your hormones. That gives rapport because you've gone through it personally. But if it's not something you've gone through personally, like maybe a web designer or something, so like you've always been a good designer, how can you build rapport as a designer without necessarily having like the same experience as your ideal client? It's going to be showing examples of your work. It's going to be pulling in more heavily on those testimonials and social proof, and giving more like client examples of success versus personal examples of success.
Nice. Okay, we're going to here in just a second shut off the live stream. So if you are watching on Facebook, I just want to say thank you for being here today. Seriously, you guys, go download Sales Copy Shortcut. It's salescopyshortcut.com. Put in the code NACWE23. It is an amazing gift that Lindsey is giving you. It's her course on walking you through all of those content blocks. Like if you just want more detail on the list, go get that, because that's exactly what it is. Am I wrong about that, Lindsey? Let me just double check that. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. There's just one quick word on that. Like if sales pages take you forever, I had one student go through and have her whole sales page drafted in 4 hours, which sounds like a ton of time, but it didn't take her 4 weeks. Yeah. With like walking through the step by step. So it's still a time commitment, obviously, but it'll cut your time down drastically following the tool.
Nice. Yeah, thanks. Hi, cutie. So yeah, thanks. Anyway, so yes, so make sure you go download that. And then the other thing, right, is we do this every single month, every single week here in NACWE. And so we'd love for you to become a member. I'm going to ask that you do that, right? Here's my call to action. Go to nacwe.com and hit join, right? Join the sisterhood. Lindsey wrote this sentence, by the way, that we use every single week, which is, if you're ready to wield the double-edged sword of faith and business, you need to join us, period. Right? So we will put that link down here in the comments as well. And then we hope to see you inside. Have an amazing week.